All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is that time of year again. It is March Madness. This is one of my favorite times of the year, and I love watching these games. So, guys, I'm going to tell you my predictions. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Without further ado, let's get this thing going. Let's start making some predictions. So, Gonzaga, the champions of the West Coast Conference, going against the Sun Belt champions in Georgia State. This one should not be close. Gonzaga is the best team in the country. They're not going to lose this first round matchup. Next up, we got our 8-9 matchup, and these ones are almost a toss-up game, but I'm going to go with the 8-seed Boise State in this one. I really like Boise State's team this year, and when they are matched up with Memphis, I like them to win that game. Boise State moving on to play Gonzaga. Next up, New Mexico State takes on Yukon. The 5-12 matchup is a popular upset to pick, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to pick Yukon. I think Yukon just has too much firepower from New Mexico State, but this game will be close. New Mexico State can hang around, and I expect them to do that, but in the end, Yukon will pull it out. Next up, we got Arkansas taking on Vermont. I'm going to pick Arkansas, but watch out for the Catamounts. This is a team that went 28-5 and won their conference title game by 40 points. Do not be shocked if Vermont pulls this one out. I can very well see Vermont winning this game. I think Arkansas is going to win it close, but watch out for the Catamounts. Next up, we got Alabama taking on the winner of Rutgers versus Notre Dame. This is the one thing I don't like about March Madness. I really don't know who's going to win that Rutgers-Notre Dame game, but I'm saying this right now. Alabama has been one of the teams that I'm just not impressed with this year. I think whoever wins that Rutgers-Notre Dame game is going to move on. I'm not going to put the pick on the screen because it just will mess me up too much, but give me the Notre Dame-Rutgers winner over Alabama. Next up, we got Texas Tech taking on Montana State. A 3 versus 14 upset's highly unlikely, especially in this game. Texas Tech, really good. Montana State, not the best. Give me the Red Raiders. Next up, we got a popular upset pick, 10 versus 7. Davidson just lost in the A-10 championship against Richmond. Michigan State Hall of Fame head coach Tom Izzo. Give me the Spartans. No upset here. Next up, we got Duke taking on Cal State Fullerton. Coach K's last tournament. I feel like they're going to be motivated to win after that tough loss against North Carolina, bowing out in the championship, not performing. I think Duke easily wins this one. Into the second round, Gonzaga taking on number 8 Boise State. This Gonzaga team is really, really good. I don't see Boise State even challenging Gonzaga on this one. Gonzaga cruises into the Sweet 16. Next up, we got a 5-4 matchup, Yukon and Arkansas. I see Arkansas moving on into the Sweet 16. This is going to be a really good matchup, but I think J.D. Notae for Arkansas is going to make a big shot late, and Arkansas is going to get into the next round. Next up, we got Texas Tech taking on Rutgers or Notre Dame. It's not on the screen, but I still think Texas Tech is going to win this game. This game, I really don't think it's going to be that close either. I mean, Texas Tech is a really good team led by O'Banner. If you remember him, he played at Oral Roberts last year on that miracle run they had. I like this Texas Tech team. They're going to move on. What a matchup. This is going to be Duke taking on Michigan State. I like the Blue Devils. 2 Hall of Fame coaches going at it. As I said, it's Coach K's last run. I think Duke is going to be motivated, and I think they are going to get into the Sweet 16 with the win over Michigan State. Next up, we got Gonzaga taking on Arkansas. As I've said multiple times, this Gonzaga team is really good. But this Arkansas team is also really good, and they can challenge the Gonzaga Bulldogs, I think. Do I think they're going to win? No, but this game will be close, folks. Gonzaga is going to pull away in the end to move on to the Elite Eight, but it's going to be close. Next up, Texas Tech taking on Duke. I like this Texas Tech team. I like this Duke team, but Texas Tech, I like a bit better. The only problem with Duke is they just don't have experience in these situations. Texas Tech does, and that's why I'm leaning towards Texas Tech. Coach K's final game of his career will be played in the Sweet 16. Gonzaga is going to the Final Four. Gonzaga, Texas Tech. Gonzaga has too much firepower. This game is going to be close, but Gonzaga is headed to the Final Four. Next up, we go to the South region, Arizona, taking on probably Bryant. Bryant has the leading scorer in the country. It's not going to matter, though. Arizona is the number 1 seed for a reason. This team is good at basketball. They will not lose this game. I'm going to go with TCU in this next matchup over Seton Hall, the 9-8. TCU is beating Kansas, they've beaten Texas, and they've beaten Texas Tech, all 3 teams that could easily advance to the second round. I'm going with the Horned Frogs. Next up, I'm going to go with a upset UAB over Houston. Jordan Walker for UAB can score the basketball, and this UAB team can score some points. I think they outduel the Houston Cougars in this one and get my first major upset of the tournament. Here we have another potential upset that would not shock me. Chattanooga over Illinois. Illinois at some times this year just have not looked good at all. Kofi Cober down low can be a matchup problem for anybody. But Chattanooga can hang some points, and they could win this game. I'm not going to be surprised if they do. I'm going to go with Illinois, but don't be surprised if the Mocs pull it out. Next up, we got Colorado State and Michigan. I know a lot of people that are picking Michigan to win this game, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going with Colorado State. The game is going to be very close, but in the end, Colorado State will prevail, and they will win this game. Tennessee and Longwood making their first appearance in the Big Dance, but this Tennessee team is coming off an SEC championship. They've beaten Kentucky, Arkansas. This Tennessee team is good. They will win pretty easily in this one. Next up, we got another upset. Number 10, Loyola Chicago over 7, Ohio State. I've watched this Ohio State team all year long, and they just have not impressed me at all. They've had some very questionable losses. And this Loyola Chicago team coming off a Missouri Valley championship. I like the matchup. Loyola Chicago with another win in the NCAA tournament. I'm not even going to give you an explanation for this one. Villanova into the second round. There isn't a lot of 9-1 upsets, and there's not going to be one here. Arizona cruises into the Sweet 16. This should be an interesting game, but I'm going to go with Illinois in a close game over the UAB Blazers. Guys, I'm not even sure if Colorado State's going to make it into this point, but I'm going to go with Tennessee. Tennessee, I feel like, is going to overpower Colorado State. The SEC champs, one of the hottest teams in basketball right now. Give me the Volunteers. Guys, this might be the shock of the video. Number 2, Villanova is going to go down to the number 10 seed Ramblers of Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago has been in this spot way too many times, and I just can't pick against them after they keep making these runs. Loyola Chicago into the Sweet 16. Next up, we got Illinois taking on Arizona. This is going to be a very entertaining game to watch, but I think late, Arizona's going to make a play, and Arizona will go on to the Elite Eight in a close matchup against Illinois. Who all remembers this matchup? Tennessee, Loyola Chicago. Last time they played in March Madness, Loyola continued on their Cinderella run with a buzzer beater against Tennessee. Unfortunately for Loyola Chicago, their Cinderella run in 2022 will end here. Tennessee moving on to the Elite Eight. This one is going to be a fun game to watch, but the Arizona Wildcats, they've been dominant all year long in a close game. Arizona's headed to the Final Four with a win over the Tennessee Volunteers. Now we go into the East. Baylor, Norfolk State. Baylor's got a ton of injuries, but the injuries are not going to stop them from winning this game. Baylor moves on to the round of 32. Next up, we got North Carolina and Marquette. I think North Carolina, they got one of the biggest wins of the year at Duke in Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. That was a huge win, and I think they're going to keep it rolling. North Carolina into the round of 32. St. Mary's taking on the winner of Wyoming and Indiana. I think Indiana is going to win that first 4 game to play St. Mary's. But man, this St. Mary's team at a 5 seed, that is dangerous. St. Mary's is extremely underrated, I think. This St. Mary's team's beaten Gonzaga. They've beaten some other really good teams. St. Mary's, watch out for the Gales. They're going to move on. UCLA and Akron. UCLA is going to win this one easily. I think they are way underrated. They should be higher than a 4 seed. But the injuries they've dealt with all year long have really brought them back to a 4 seed. But this UCLA team is dangerous, and that's going to set up a matchup of 2 dangerous teams in the next round, St. Mary's and UCLA. Next up, we got Virginia Tech and Texas. Virginia Tech just won the ACC tournament as a 7 seed, and they are a dangerous 11 seed. Watch out for Virginia Tech. They're going to upset the Texas Longhorns. The number 3 seed Purdue versus number 14 Yale. This game could be closer than many people think. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think Purdue is going to dominate the Yale Bulldogs. Not a lot of people are saying that, but I'm going with the Purdue Boilermakers big. Guys, I'm really not that confident about this next pick. Number 7 Murray State versus number 10 San Francisco. I'm going to go with Murray State. They're 30-2 on the year, but watch out for this San Francisco team. All year long, I was saying, you know what? San Francisco is going to upset a team in the tournament. And now that the tournament finally got here, they're playing Murray State. It's a really tough matchup. I'm going to pick Murray State, but absolutely do not be shocked if San Francisco wins this game. Next up, St. Peter's and Kentucky. This one's not going to be close. Sheboy's going to dominate down low. Kentucky's going to murder the St. Peter's Peacocks. Next up, we got Baylor, North Carolina. I think North Carolina could win this game if they play really well. I don't see that happening. Baylor has a lot of injuries, but they do have the talent to win this game. Baylor in a very close win over North Carolina. This is going to be a fun one. St. Mary's, UCLA. Give me the Gales of St. Mary's. A lot of people have this exact game, but they have UCLA winning this game. I think this game is going to go back and forth the entire game, but late in the game, St. Mary's is going to make more shots, and they will beat the UCLA Bruins. Next up, we got Virginia Tech taking on Purdue. This is going to be another close game, but late in the game, Jaden Ivey for Purdue is going to lead his team to victory. He's going to go into takeover mode. This game is going to be close, but Purdue is going to win it. Next up, we got Kentucky taking on Murray State. I really like this Kentucky team. Kentucky is going to win and get into the Sweet 16. Guys, this might be the most shocking result of the video. St. Mary's is headed to the Elite Eight with a win over number 1 seed Baylor. As I said before, Baylor is the team I have the least amount of confidence with all their injuries, and this St. Mary's team can play some basketball. St. Mary's is headed to the Elite Eight. This one is going to be fun, folks. Kentucky and Purdue. Give me the Kentucky Wildcats. They are headed to the Elite Eight, a very, very close game, as I often say, but Kentucky will pull it out. St. Mary's run will end in the Elite Eight. Kentucky has too much talent for St. Mary's. Kentucky is headed to the Final Four. This will not be the year the number 16 seed beats a 1 seed. Kansas is going to kill whoever they play, and they're going to move on in the next round. Next up, San Diego State taking on Creighton. I like this Creighton team just a little bit more than I like this San Diego State team. Give me the Blue Jays to move on. Guys, next up we got Iowa taking on Richmond. This Iowa team is starting to play some really good basketball. Keegan Murray is just taking over for the Hawkeyes. Give me Iowa into the next round. Guys, all year long I've been saying Providence is overrated, and they just got blown out in their tournament, and they are playing a team that's probably the best shooting team in the country in South Dakota State. This team averages 87 points a game. That's second in all of Division I, only behind Gonzaga. Give me South Dakota State with a 13-4 upset over Providence. Next up, we got LSU and Iowa State. For some reason, a lot of people are picking Iowa State, and that just doesn't make sense to me because the only time I remember ever seeing an Iowa State score was towards the end of the year. They scored like 30 points on senior night or something. I don't remember what it was. If you do that, this Iowa State team doesn't impress me at all. LSU is going to win this game, even though they just lost their head coach. It doesn't matter. LSU to the next round. Next up, we got Colgate taking on Wisconsin. This Colgate team, I think, is the best 14 team in the tournament, but they're not going to be any match for Johnny Davis and the Badgers. Give me Wisconsin to move on. We got another 10-7 upset here. Give me the Miami Hurricanes. They just took Duke to the wire, collapsed in the late half of that game, but that doesn't matter. They showed what they are all about. Give me Miami to beat USC. Jacksonville State didn't even make the championship in their own league, and here they are. Give me Auburn by 1,000. Auburn will not lose this game. Creighton and Kansas. Creighton's a good team, but Kansas is just on another level. Kansas into the Sweet 16 yet again. This one's going to be fun, folks. Iowa and South Dakota State. If Iowa has an off night shooting, South Dakota State doesn't. South Dakota State can win this game. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think, but I'm going to go with Iowa in a close one. South Dakota State can score some points, though, so this one's going to be very, very interesting. Next up, we got LSU and Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin just a bit more than LSU. This one's going to be a close game, but give me the Badgers. This one's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. Give me Auburn in a close one, but Miami can easily challenge them, and Miami can win this game. As I said before, this Iowa team is getting hotter and hotter as the season goes on. Iowa and Kansas, what a game this is going to be, but Iowa will get into the Elite Eight in a close win over the number 1 seed Jayhawks. This one's going to be fun. Auburn and Wisconsin. I lean towards Auburn. They got the number 1 draft pick in Jabari Smith. I think he's going to take this game over, and they are going to get into the Elite Eight. The Iowa Hawkeyes are into the Final Four with a win over Auburn. I think Auburn's three-point shooting is finally going to catch up to them. Iowa's going to get the Auburn Tigers. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes into the Final Four. And then there were 4. Game number 1, Gonzaga and Kentucky. This one is going to be very exciting. But Gonzaga's been the number 1 team in college basketball all year long, and they're going to keep it going. Gonzaga's going to the championship. Iowa taking on Arizona. Arizona and Gonzaga have been the 2 best teams in the country all year long. And now they'll match up in the championship. Arizona is going to the championship to play Gonzaga. What a matchup we have in the championship. It's been the 2 best teams in basketball all year long. Gonzaga, after going years without a title, after being the number 1 team for as long as anybody can remember, Gonzaga is finally going to break through. Gonzaga is your 2022 national champions with a win over the Arizona Wildcats.